So, your bug-out bag is now packed. You are confident that whatever you needed to survive that first 72 hours, and possibly beyond, is now taken care of. You are indeed positive that you have the necessary items in your bag that will address all the rules of 3. You are also proud that your bug-out bag, and all its contents are fit for purpose. You are in fact so confident that you can sing and dance about it, and even be bold enough to give yourself a pat on the back. Wow! You can now stand tall. You have outdone yourself. You are amazing. But hang on. The devil's advocate just asked you something. Did he ask, are you telepathic? Are your family members telepathic? Can you speak without speaking? In my earlier video in this series, I talked about how paper could save your life. At the end of that video, I mentioned that you should pack a permanent marker, a ballpoint pen, a pencil, a small notebook, some chalk, a compass, and a whistle. You thought I forgot about it, didn't you? As routine and as unprep-alike as these items may sound, believe me when I tell you that each of these items are in fact so significant to have in your bag, that at some point they could not only save your life, but possibly the lives of every family member during a bug-out situation. So now that you are back on Earth, let's get down to the importance of these items, and how they could address the pesky advocate's 3 questions. Firstly, you must always accept the most basic fact of bugging out. And that is, that at the time of bugging out, the environment around you is no longer normal, and certainly no longer predictable. There is equally a high probability that the people in that environment are also no longer behaving normally and predictably. In fact, they could be worse than the worst zombie you have ever imagined. It would be easy if your bug out to wherever you were going was in your bug out vehicle on some isolated road with just you, your family, and some cool music playing, as if you were on a Sunday drive. But, as a prepper, you know that nothing is left to chance. Anything that could go wrong will go wrong, especially if you are unprepared to deal with it. Just look at the world around us right now. A breaking point seems imminent. Soon, whatever crisis you see happening in some far-off place could happen right on your doorstep. Always maintain this cycle, because prepping never stops. So, let's get into the importance and role of these items, as well as the advantages that you will gain simply by just having them in your bug-out bag. Never underestimate the value of a little handwritten note during a time of crisis or abnormality. For instance, during our world history of wars, those little handwritten messages changed outcomes, fates, and even borders. In fact, in the aftermath of World War I, a homing pigeon, named Cher Ami, received a French award for heroic service for saving the lives of 194 soldiers of the Lost Battalion by delivering a handwritten message to them. Likewise, there are other countless records in our history where handwritten notes and messages, whether delivered by birds, by foot, or on horseback, led to different outcomes. But, you may say, I can just send a text message or post something on my social media account. Yeah, right. Remember that during major crisis that has significant impact, the reset defaults to nothing works anymore. Whether it involves writing a note, or a message, or possibly you are in an environment where verbal communication with your family members is not possible or dangerous, that pen, or pencil, and that little piece of paper could be a game changer. As simple as a pen may sound, because we all grew up with them in our school bags, for the sake of prepping, you will have to look for a pen that is definitely in a higher grade than those which you used in school. When choosing a pen for the bug-out bag, remember the environment in which it is going to be used. Invest in a pen that can withstand the rough and tough, and which will have certain characteristics that make it fit for purpose. These days, you get pens that are waterproof, that is, the ink will not fade or bleed when exposed to water. You also get pens that are engineered to work in cold weather, and you even get inkless pens that are said to last forever because of their special ethograph tips. The permanent marker, like its name suggests, is for those occasions when you have to permanently mark an object, or a piece of equipment or built infrastructure, either for purposes of warning, location, identification, or signaling. It is advisable to have 2 permanent markers per bag. One should be black ink and the other yellow or some other bright color for obvious reasons. Again, invest in good permanent markers that are designed specifically for outdoor use, and which are fade resistant to sun and UV rays, and which are engineered to write on plastic, glass, wood, clothing, and any type of outdoor surface. Then, there is chalk. No, not for you to go on a graffiti crusade during an apocalypse, but to complement your ability to communicate. Having chalk gives you more options and flexibility than a permanent marker, even though the benefit may be shorter-lived. Chalk is great for creating temporary indicators, markings, and for writing quick messages on almost any surface. But, get sidewalk or pavement chalk, as these sticks of chalk are thicker and more robust than normal blackboard chalk. Although chalk is made from relatively inert chemicals and can last a long time, when packing these in your bag, make sure they are tightly sealed in a plastic bag or container to avoid being exposed to humidity. Get the bright colors, for obvious reasons. At this point I must pause. Having the writing instruments, including the chalk, is not just a nice to have, but something that will give you a tactical advantage. That tactical advantage, however, is only possible through a bit of intelligence or craftiness from your side. You need to create a short code system for you and your family. When I say short code, I am referring to the use of letters of the alphabet, signs, or symbols, which can be used as immediate recognition communicators between you and your family without a word being said. As you would likely know, signs and symbols have a long history, some blatant, some hidden, and some so secret that I am sure if I mentioned them, I will be hunted down by men wearing dark cloaks. In the modern world, signs and symbols are used for immediate recognition. For instance, we all know what these mean. Then there are the everyday signs like these that are meant to get our immediate attention. Without even a letter of the alphabet or a written word, we immediately recognize and register the meaning of those symbols and signs. Similarly, famous corporate logos that we are familiar with are also immediately recognizable to us without a word being said. But, did you know that some of them also communicate another message? For instance, this famous one also communicates that you will find everything from A to Z if you shop with them. In this logo, there is a shape that indicates speed and precision. Can you see what is hidden in this? Another example of short code usage is in the fire and rescue service. For instance, firefighters and urban search and rescue technicians draw simple signs like these outside a collapsed structure when conducting search and rescue operations. These simple signs convey important message updates to personnel on the outside just by looking at them. In a high-risk life safety situation, these signs play a pivotal role. Equally then, as a prepper, it will be to your family's tactical advantage to have a set of simple signs to communicate with each other, especially considering the risk that you all collectively and individually will be exposed to during a bug out and beyond. This risk will also include the probability of your family unit being separated, whether forced or otherwise, during a bug out. When deciding on your own short code signs and symbols, keep it simple, and importantly create it together with your family, so that there is complete understanding of the meaning and intended use from the get-go. Focus on creating categories of signs or symbols that you can generate just by the use of your hand and fingers, drawn signs or symbols that consist of simple geometric shapes and numbers or letters of the alphabet, and physical signs that use elementary objects such as stones and sticks in simple arrangements. With regards to hand signs, keep them fluid and almost undetectable. For instance, most of us are familiar with the help signal, which is performed by holding your hand up with your thumb tucked into your palm, and then folding your fingers down, symbolically trapping your thumb in your fingers. This was intentionally designed as a single continuous hand movement, rather than a sign held in one position. When creating your short message codes, focus on the following main categories: welfare, such as messages like, "I need help," or, "I am okay," with the use of both hand signals and symbols. Directional messages, with the use of arrows or arrowhead shapes. Distance messages, with the use of numbers or line strokes and even geometric shapes. Danger, safety, and avoidance messaging, with the use of special symbols, signs, and alphanumeric codes. Instructional messages, with the use of simple cryptic illustrations, shapes, or even alphanumeric codes. If you were in the military, or a public safety first responder agency, the Boy Scouts or Girl Guide movements, or even a trail hiker, you can easily adapt any one of the set of signs used in those environments, and make it your own. But regardless, you should research, craft, and agree on your own particular set of short message code signs and symbols, as these should be unique and known to your family only. Remember, a good set of short code messaging codes can be used for any life-threatening situation and not just for bugging out. The use of a whistle as a simple early warning system has a deep and proven history. The police whistle, as introduced by the London Metropolitan Police Service around 1860, became that tiny piece of equipment that was arguably more important than any truncheon issued to a police officer, for the simple reason that it served as an early warning system that ensured police, and the public alike, became immediately aware that a crime was being committed, or that immediate backup was needed from officers within earshot of the whistle. The use of a whistle in sports is also well applied and tested. Once that referee's whistle is blown, the game is brought to an immediate stop, despite whatever expert view you may have. As insignificant as it may seem, a whistle is therefore a tried and tested well-meaning immediate good first choice as it relates to raising an alert, and creating subsequent awareness of a situation. When getting a whistle, get the survival or emergency whistle as used in the marine, rescue, and other emergency and survival environments. Other than its durable construction and easy to hide or carry characteristics, it has a high audible sound range which is usually in excess of 100 decibels. You can also decide on a short code message system when using the whistle. For instance, short intermittent blasts could convey a message, or likewise a long blast could convey a warning or request for assistance. The purpose of having a compass in your bag is self-explanatory and simple. But, because people sometimes get carried away and buy a compass that is way above their pay grade, or get overwhelmed by the technicality of using a compass properly, the purpose of a compass should first and foremost always be for indicating direction and subsequent navigation. Essentially, the basic use of a compass is to know which direction you are traveling in. This is called your heading. To align your map with your surroundings, this is called setting the map. To work out which direction an object or destination is from you, this is known as its bearing. And importantly, to walk in a straight line to your targeted destination. Invest in a good proven compass that is easy to use by all members of your family, and one that does not require advanced navigational skills or rocket science to use. When choosing a compass, remember that you may have to use it in low light conditions, so get one that has luminescent markings. Whatever type of compass you get to know its use and functions well, especially when it comes to setting the map, finding your bearings, and determining your heading. Having a compass and not knowing how to use and read it could send you literally over a cliff. From the pens to the chalk, to the whistle, and even the compass, these items may seem like odds and ends and really insignificant items to have in your bag. The idea of having a short code messaging system for your family may also seem unimportant. Remember that a good prepper always has one consistent thought. I would rather have it and not need it, than need it and not have it. In other words, a good prepper leaves nothing to chance, so there is nothing like odds and ends.
Subscribe to the South African Prepper. Like and share my videos with your family, friends, and colleagues, since we are all in this together. Here you get real information, and fact-based insights and guidance. I don't do opinion or BS. Preparedness is not a hobby. It is a way of life that could save your life.